Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our council meeting on Monday, January 30th. We do not have a closed meeting today, so we will be motioning to convene in open. The recommendation is that council convenes an open session at now 7:02 p.m. May I please have a mover? Moved by Councillor Dunstall, seconded by Councillor Martin. All those in favor? And that carries unanimously. I am going to just make a note that Councillor Sadhu sends his regrets, so he will not be joining tonight's meeting. And our moment of reflection, apologies to those that were listening on our budget, but they are two, in my opinion, important points to reflect on, so it will be the same reflection. I wanted to start today's meeting by acknowledging the passing of former Mississauga Mayor Hazel McCollin. She passed away Sunday morning at the age of 101. And for those that don't know, Hazel was one of Canada's longest serving mayors, having been mayor for over 36 years, retiring at the young age of 93 years old. On behalf of Council in Wilmot Township, I want to extend our deepest condolences to Hazel's family and friends. I would also encourage people to read some of her story and achievements. As Premier Ford said upon her passing, Hazel was the true definition of a public servant. With January drawing to a close, we look ahead to February and Black History Month. This is a time to pause, learn, and celebrate the many achievements and contributions of Black Canadians. The 2023 theme is Ours to Tell, encouraging stories of Black Canadians' success, sacrifice, and triumph. There are various events and learning opportunities across the region during this month, and for more information, be sure to check out the Township website. I would also say do not let this month be the only point you engage with Black history, as it is a part of our larger community's history. I would also encourage anyone interested in learning about local history to take initiative and look up the Black settlement established in Queensbush and Wellesley in the 1800s. It's a really intriguing part of our local history that I personally was not aware of until last year when somebody mentioned it to me during Black History Month. Now I will pass it over to Councillor Martin to read the territorial acknowledgement.
Thank you, Mayor Salonen. We've gathered in Wilmot Township on the traditional territory of the Neutral, Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, and Mississauga peoples. We also want to acknowledge the importance of the Dish with One Spoon covenant, a peace agreement made between Indigenous nations before the Europeans arrived. It characterizes our collective responsibility to each other and Mother Earth. We should take only what we need, leave enough for others, and keep the dish clean. By acknowledging this covenant and the First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples, we are reminded of our important connection to this land where we live, learn, and work together as a community.
Thank you. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest under the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act? Seeing none, we will move on to additions to the agenda, of which we do not have any. Oh, sorry, there is one. My apologies. We do have one. It is the temporary appointment of Property Standards Appeals Committee, COR-2023-10. The recommendation is that the report COR 2023-10 regarding the appointment of a Property Standards Appeal Committee be received, and further, that the following individuals be temporarily appointed to and form the Property Standards Appeal Committee: Blaine Bechtold, Julie Molinar, and Wayne Roth. And further, that the appointments of the Property Standards Appeal Committee remain until the board committee appointment policy review is complete. To get this on the floor, may I please have a mover? Moved by Councillor Wilkinson, seconded by Councillor Cressman. I will now call on Jeff Bunn, the Manager of Legislative Services, to introduce the report.
Thank you, Mayor. The report before you is to appoint a temporary Property Standards Committee. The reason for the temporary appointment is, unfortunately, we've had some members of the committee resign over the last couple of weeks, and it has become apparent that we do need to have a committee in order to address an appeal that we have received. So once the broader review of our community appointment process is completed and brought to Council for your consideration, this appointment would stay in place. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you very much, Jeff. Councillors, are there any questions? No? Seeing no questions, I will now call the vote. All of those in favor? and that is unanimously carried. On to the adoption of the agenda. The recommendation is that the agenda as presented for January 30th, 2023 be adopted. May I have a mover? Moved by Councillor Martin and seconded by Councillor Dunstall. I will now call the vote. All of those in favor? And that's also moved unanimously. The recommendation for the minutes of the previous meeting is that the meetings be adopted as presented. Regular council meeting January 16th, 2023, and special council meeting January 19th, 2023. To get this on the floor, may I have a mover? Moved by Councillor Cressman, seconded by Councillor Dunstall. All those in favor? And that's also moved unanimously. This evening we have no public meetings or presentations, nor do we have any items on the consent. Sorry, my paper's cut off here. We do have an item on the consent agenda, and that is the Grand River Accessibility Advisory Committee appointments for 2023 to 2026 term. As this is on the consent agenda, does anybody want to pull this from the consent agenda to ask questions? No? Okay. In that case, the recommendation is that consent agenda item 101 be approved. The recommendation is that the council approves the recommended appointments to the Grand River Accessibility Advisory Committee, and further that pending ratification by the partnering municipalities, the following members be appointed to GRAAC, for a following 4-year term ending December 31st, 2026. The first is Alicia Cleland, second is Tamara Cooper, third is Sarah Honeyworth, fourth is Heather Gillespie, fifth is Christine Nishawaki, sixth is Fardish Satishafar, seventh is Catherine Wybrandt, and eighth is the agency representation, which is the Brain Injury Association of Waterloo Wellington. I do apologize if I mispronounced any names. To get this on the floor, may I please have a mover? Moved by Councillor Dunstall, seconded by Councillor Martin. All those in favor? And that is unanimously carried. There are no reports for this evening and no correspondence. Moving on to bylaws, the recommendation is that bylaws as attached to this agenda be read a first, second, and third time, and finally passing in open council. Bylaws are 13.1 and 13.2 as listed. May I please have a mover? Moved by Councillor Martin, and a seconder? Seconded by Councillor Cressman. All those in favor? And that's moved unanimously. There are no notice of motions, and as for announcements, I would like to turn it over to Councillor Dunstall.
Thank you. Through you. Most people may know that there was a movie that was filmed in New Hamburg last year, mainly at Puttycombs. That's going to be shown on the Women's Network, which on Rogers, I know it's Rogers' Channel 60, on February 10th at 8 o'clock, and it's called The Love Club. So hopefully people can tune in and watch that and see our beautiful downtown. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Dunstall. Are there any other announcements, councillors? I do just want to reiterate the announcement that I made last time, that the roundabout proposal for the regional intersection at Nafzinger and Snyder's/Waterloo by Steinman Mennonite Church, they currently are doing engagement. So if you would like to make comments on that intersection and the proposal of a roundabout, please do go through the regional channels. They have it on their website, as well as you can reach out directly to the region. I did also want to give a bit of a regional update again, and a general council update. In terms of regional updates, we are continuing on the budget. Again, if you want to tune into that, we have some more budget meetings tomorrow. And as for a council update, I just wanted to share that council, all of council, myself, Director Kelly, and our CAO attended ROMA, which is the Rural Ontario Municipalities Association annual conference in Toronto last weekend, and into the week a little bit, I guess. It was a great opportunity for us to work on relationship building with our provincial counterparts as well as other rural municipalities. Council had an opportunity to delegate to Minister Thompson, which is the Minister for Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs, and I delegated with our other rural municipalities to a few other parliamentary assistants and ministers on different items that we're hoping to put forward for our counterparts at the province to help us aid in. So just wanted to share that update, and there's no business arising from closed as we didn't have a closed session. So the confirmatory bylaw. The recommendation is that the confirmatory bylaw as attached to this agenda be read a first, second, and third time, and finally passed in open council. May I have a mover? Moved by Councillor Dunstall, seconded by Councillor Cressman. All those in favor? And that's passed unanimously. And adjournment. I recommend that we now adjourn at 7:12 p.m. Meeting again at the call of the mayor. May I have a mover? Moved by Councillor Cressman, seconded by Councillor Dunstall. All those in favor? And we're adjourned.